1, 2, 3, Rebels!
I think that's the ladder's in the store.
All right. 30 seconds.
Did you want to stand over here?
What's comfortable for you? I'll stand this time.
Maybe jump through.
And welcome back to Central Coast Regional Sports Stadium here for the 18s boys. Sydney Mets versus the Southern Rebels, the newly formed Southern Rebels, with the change of regions recently, as the Sydney Mets will take us forward, running right to left on your screen in the navy and white, and the Southern Rebels in the royal and the red. As the ball's picked up from dummy half, and the Mets will get into the in goal. It's a very good chase and good touch there by Castelli. And the penalty goes to the Rebels, and they'll get up moving forward, and they'll get up near the 10. And there's Watkins in defence for the Mets, and they'll get in the transition here, the Rebels. And that'll be Kennedy with the ball, and the ball scored down with turning over possession here. Very slippery conditions. We've seen rain all morning. Here, heavy. It's currently just drizzling, so you might be able to see on screen. But ball handling will be paramount in these conditions. And the ball's thrown over the top. And Watkins is caught on the 10, and they'll go forward. And there's Catalano with the ball, and the tall timber there is Oscar Gray from the Parramatta Club, and they'll get the strike dump. Catalano picks it up, tries to hit Lick, intercepted. Kennedy in the channel in the passing lane, and the Rebels will get the ball in zero touch, and they'll head up near halfway. And they go to the winger, and there's Hunt. And they get the ball up through Hesketh over halfway from Easton. There's Truman with the ball, and the Bankstown Junior takes it forward, and there's Josh Daniel from Wollongong, who's touched on the other side of halfway. And there's Roche from Wollongong, who's touched, and there's a change over, and the first completed set from the Rebels. And Coach Matalitso Masashi and assistant Clayton Blackman, also regional director, taking over from Les Bouveng after a number of years at the helm. So Clayton in his first junior regionals here, he's taken a big load, and we thank all our regional directors who do a fantastic job. And the Mets with the ball now, and they take it forward, and that'll be Edwards at dummy half. He picks it up with Graham Whittle, the Penrith connection. Edwards goes, he throws it to ground, and referee Dal Santos says change over, and the Rebels will need to get up here over halfway in a couple of touches. And the pressing defence from the Mets, a bit of pressure coached, as you'd expect, by Nick Good and Scott Buckley, and you wouldn't expect anything less. And there's Hunt with the ball, and the ball's, there's what we've called many times on commentary as a coach killer. So Roche couldn't handle it, and I think a little bit lost there in the drive set for the Rebels. And that'll be Graham Whittle with the ball, and there's Edwards, and Graham Whittle and Edwards at Junior State Cup are a lethal combination. They're at it again, and this time they go for the link quickly, and they look for Rawali. Rawali steps off the left and dives, and he's touched. Rawali, the player of the final in the 18s boys at the Southern Conference, which you'll see the mix of the players here, Penrith and Parramatta, in what was an absolute cracker and somewhat controversial grand final. And you can see why the Mets would be favourites for the Junior Regionals 18s tournament. And there's another error from the Rebels, and the completion rate is dwindling here as McInnes there just falling over his feet, and turns it over, and the Mets with the ball now, and they'll look for the reinforcements, and the referee is coming up. And a little bit of confusion. I think everyone at the ground's currently confused about what's actually happened here. But I believe it's 7 on the field from Rebels. So that error in the ruck has caused a little bit of chaos here for the Rebels. And as they go with Watkins, and the ball's away to Wickman, and back to Watkins. And Watkins will throw a left to right absolute bullet. And he's lightning on his feet as Chatton with the ball from Parramatta. And Chatton will play it. Watkins picks up dummies and he goes. Watkins, there he is. Steps off the left, knocked down. Great defence and by Delaney for the Rebels. And Matt Delaney from Wollongong there knocking the ball down and stopping the try. But they'll get another chance to attack as Watkins and Chatton will work in there. Some good press by Dennis Hethketh from the Eastern Suburbs Club. And Watkins with the ball, and Chatton, they'll send the sweeper again. Will they go the dummy? They give it to him this time. And there's Pollard with a big dive. Referee Dal Santo says he got there. Pollard with the dive, and the Mets hit the lead. 1-0. They've had all the ball here and all the field position, and it was just a matter of time before they made the Rebels pay with the slippery conditions here. It was bound to happen, and Riley Pollard opens the scoring for the Mets, and a chance for the Rebels boys to hit back. A good opportunity to get down near the line as there's a dummy from Daniel, and he's got Truman there at dummy half giving the ball. And there's Roche, and Daniel picks the ball up and looks back for Roche, and he gives back, and they look for Truman, and Truman goes for the link quickie, and they step away from him. Daniel, he goes to step short, and an ordinary flick pass out the back, and the ball goes to ground. And the Sydney Mets will head outside the 5 or the 7 now, and there's Pollard, the try scorer. It's 1-0 the Sydney Mets, and they'll get up near halfway, and that was Chatton now as they get up over halfway, and there's a shimmy from Halia, and I'll go back, and there's Gray, and ball away, and Heather with the ball, and Catalano picks it up. Clean pair of heels, and Heather, oh, he's bombed it. Oh, money for Jam, and he spilled it over the line. Oh, that's a big opportunity. They might be ruining that mistake come the back end of this game. And just when you say that, there's another error from Roche, and he's having an unhappy time with his hands currently. Alec Roche, and they'll get the chance here. The link quickie, Catalano and Truman. Catalano goes. Truman's off, but I think they've covered on the inside. I think that's Josh Daniel, and Truman, they're just planting his feet on the line. He had the cover. Need to back that inside defence a little bit more, and they'll go for the sweep play. Catalano, he's quick. He goes. He offload out the back, and hell, you can't handle it. And they'll get a chance to complete here, the Rebels. I'm not sure if you can hear on the effects, Mike. That's all that's coming from the box in front of us for the Sydney Rebels is just complete. And Truman with the ball. He'll take the metres up, and that's weak ruck play from Truman. He spills the ball. It just puts the Rebels under immense pressure here. It's error after error at the moment. They're not doing themselves any favours at all as they'll get a chance to attack here with Horatio Edwards and Rivali on the field. And there's Edwards. He's dangerous as it is. And Rivali now, he gets the ball back. The quick, he steps off his left and dives. It's a great touch by Josh Daniel. Some sharp feet from Rivali, and 1-0 still to the Mets. Looking for another here on the attack. And there's Rivali. Goes to dump with the head down. He gets a quickie back at step, and he's got that one. Has he? No, he hasn't. Referee Rebecca Rogers. Give me a penalty. It's a forward pass off the ruck. And there's a bit of confusion there from the Wollongong, from the Rebels. I beg your pardon. And there's Josh Daniels, throws out Truman, see if he can win this ruck, and he a little bit more controlled there, and safe as house, and there's another error on the drive. You can't give yourself any form of opportunity if you can't complete, and this is just error after error at the moment from the Southern Rebels, and it's only 1-0 in saying that. As we mentioned before, slippery conditions here at the Central Coast Regional Sports Complex, and fantastic conditions. Fantastic conditions in regards to the actual state of the fields. A heavy shower on Thursday, and the grounds are in magnificent condition. A big heads up to the Central Coast Council. Have done a wonderful job. And there's Edwards with Rivali, and Rivali's dancing like Saturday Night Fever, and he steps off the left. They give the quarterback play, and Edwards couldn't stand him up, and it's great defence there from Lockie Stanfield from the UNSW South Sydney Rabbitohs, and their chance to drive forward again, and that'll be Jared Turner. And ball at the ground from Hesketh, and control is yelling out from the box here. Control, and there's Hesketh again, and they'll give the ball away. There's Turner to Hesketh, and they'll go to Stanfield for the dump, and the ball's picked up. Hesketh, he steps off his right, looks for the trail, the sweep in, he gives to the wing inside. Oh, they bombed it. Oh, the chance to level up. The first time they've completed in a long time, the Rebels. And there was an opportunity from Luke Mayer Soteropoulos, and he couldn't hang on to it. And the ball goes to ground. It's 1-0 Sydney Mets here in the 18s, boys, on the stadium field. And stepping off the right is Graham Whittle, and they'll get up over halfway. There's Edwards. He'll play the ball and head for a breather. And they come on the field, and there's Watkins. And they'll go with, that was Wickman now, and he steps on the inside and stepped off the left. And Watkins is quick. The play-through call's happening there, and they give out to the winger, and he was out. It was Braden Nichols in this corner. Braden Nichols scoring an absolute plethora of tries at the Junior State Cup. Held in Wagga Wagga. And for a lot of these kids from the Northern Conference, it's been a long time between drinks for a game of rep touch football. And here's Catalano. And Catalano plays it. They go the outball Watkins. This will be hard to stop. And he can stop on a 5-cent piece, but the slippery conditions haven't helped him there. Add a bit of oil to that 5-cent piece. It makes it a little bit tougher to stop. And Watkins will give the ball back. And there's Chatton. And there, as we mentioned again, and you'd be going for the long sprigs in these conditions. That's for sure. Ball handling being an absolute issue here at the moment. And Watkins will sing and dance. And he'll play the ball for Catalano. Catalano picks up and he looks to hit short. And Chatton looking for the wrong line. And Rebels looking to keep it simple. And they'll look for the opportunity to complete as they'll head to the box now, and there's Hesketh with the ball, and he looks wide. That looked to be late, but the ball's away. Mayer Soteropoulos now, they dummy and look, and a little bit of confusion here again, and they'll get up over the 10, and that'll be McInnes at dummy half, and they play the ball, and there's Soteropoulos now giving the ball away, and there's Roche. He's going to play the ball for Turner. Daniel picks it up. He's through. Is he? No. It's good touch. Good cover defence from Matt Chatton from Parramatta. And Chatton will play the ball, and Catalano will pick it up, and the Mets again will drive out from their line 1-0 here in very, very slippery conditions here, and they go for that box set and some good feet, and the referee here, Rebecca Rogers, says penalty if I forward pass off the ruck. And the Rebels will get a chance to head into enemy territory here as Daniel now and Roche will take the ball, the Wollongong combination, as they head forward. And there's Roche with a cat backwards. He's going forward, and Josh Daniel now with the ball. And Daniel will play it for Kennedy. They'll go the Rooster play, and shutting defence. It's going to be extremely hard to throw a long ball in these conditions, so the tight defence is there. As Kennedy looks to step up, they look to drop it in the corner. There's Mayer Soteropoulos, and he kills it here on the 7, and very deep line there, the Met side, as Oscar Gray takes the ball forward, and that's Wickman now. Wickman dummies. He's up over halfway. The foot race is on. Big diving touch by Reese Hunt. And some good meters there from Wickman as Rivali comes on the field. He dishes a ball back to Graham Whittle, and strike weapons are on. Rivali, Graham Whittle and Edwards. What play will they run? The ML platform's there, and they go for the play. And the kick out and quick down. That's try time. The skipper, Horatio Edwards, extends their lead, and a 2-0 lead could be golden in these conditions. Little goosey there, step, and the dive for the line, and the lead extended, and all came from the break from Braden Wickman upfield. 2-0 to the Sydney Mets as the Southern Rebels now go with Delaney and Turner now up over halfway. They look for Hesketh there with the ball, and Truman on the field here at right link, and there's Delaney. They're going to look for the Rooster set up there. Truman off the ground to Hesketh. Hesketh dives. He offside. Edwards Is he offside? The referee, John Clark, pointing and letting him know that you've only got to make the white line. You don't need to be in the car park. And he'll play the ball. And there's Delaney. And Hesketh picks it up and nowhere to go on this right short side. So they play the ball in Rivali. And Edwards gets it off the ground. And Graham Whittle now will get forward. And they'll head through Catalano. And Rivali sweeps around. And Catalano again, some really, really good metres by John Paul Catalano. And gets them well up over halfway and a chance to attack the Sydney Mets. And they'll be Hellier with the ball. And on the field is Chatton and Watkins. Watkins picks it up. He wants to favour the left, but he goes. And the flick pass. Not the conditions for that, Finn. Put that away for the Sunday afternoon. And the Rebels will get the ball. Go forward, and you wouldn't believe it. If I had $1 for every time the Rebels dropped it coming out from their own end, it'd be a very, very rich man. There's no question of that. And I'll go the sweep with Pollard. And the early hands ball. Hellier for the line. A big diving touch. Jared Turner. Fantastic scrambling defence. They look like they were over for all money. The Sydney Mets. And Chatton drives it in. And Watkins. And I'll go again for it. Watkins. He steps off and looks for that left-hand side. He goes that way. And long ball. Great work on the inside. And Hellier scores and extends the lead for the Mets. It's 3-0. And if 2-0 was golden, I'm not quite sure what 3-0 is, but it's better than golden, that's for sure. And they'll be back to halfway. And if the Rebels are any chance, they're going to need to strike back in this set. Around 10 minutes remaining, and they throw the ball out here to Ben McInnes, and he looks to stand up Braden Wickman, but Wickman equal to the task, and the ball's taken forward by Stanfield. Stanfield with Stephen Mitchell, and Stephen Mitchell now gets a Rooster play, and Kennedy steps off the right, and it's a good touch again by Wickman. Some good defence. Sydney Mets just getting in really, really tight, and the Rebels no answer at the moment for them as the ball's picked up, and Stanfield will come. He look for the switch for McInnes, and the ball's been thrown and touched, and there's 6 to go. They'll get a repeat set. The Rebels, and Oscar Gray there sticking the hand out, and there's Mitchell with the ball, and Stanfield, he goes away from the UNSW counterparts. Mitchell with the ball to Stanfield, and McInnes is there. McInnes for the link quickie, and they look to give it, and strike, touch by Dylan Bissett. And the Rebels, once again, have no answer here. And there's Stanfield, McInnes off the ground to Mitchell, and there's plenty of space on that right side, but Mitchell will play the ball, and they'll give it back, and that was mile forward, but Mitchell will go to the line. And as I said, the Mets here with an answer for everything the Rebels are throwing at the moment, and difficult conditions, and the Rebels just have not adjusted at all so far as they get up over halfway with Mitchell Heather and in those flashy orange boots. You can see him from miles away, and they give the ball away to Graham Whittle on the no-look pass. Once again, not sure if it's the conditions for those sorts of balls, and we saw Watkins before, but might be encouraged by the coaches of Nick Good and Scott Buckley, but I'm not sure that's the answer right now. And 3-0 lead, I suppose you can do what you want, a little bit more freedom. And I come on the ball and Roche, and Truman's not there. And a little bit of bickering here from the Southern Rebels. As the Mets will start again, you can see on that wide shot there when the play the ball starts, there's so much depth to the Mets attack as they come out, and there's Edwards, the skipper, the regional captain, and they give the ball away, and that'll be Wickman there up over halfway, and there's Chatton with the ball. He steps off his right, he steps off his left, and Dipsy Doodle, and he gets away Pollard. They got numbers, Watkins, and great touch. Luke Mayer Soropoulos, and referee Dal Santos says ball away from Watkins. He couldn't get it out quick enough, and the Rebels, just another shot in the foot. At the moment, it's Mads is still an Australian Open player, and he's got a good head of hair. The last time I saw him, Pollard gives it back to Watkins, and he steps off his right. And they go forward now, and there's Chatton and Watkins, and they'll look for Pollard there. Pollard picks it up off the ground, and Chatton steps off his left in the big dive, and Roche there standing on the line. He's not onside, and the referee calls play through, and the Mets extend their lead 4-0 here at the Central Coast Regional Sporting Complex. In wet conditions at the moment, hoping for a big wind to clear us up soon for the afternoon session of touch football, but unlikely at the moment. As the Rebels tap off at 4-0. We'll be looking to get on the board here, and they give the ball to McInnes from the Eastern Suburbs Club, and McInnes there, Riley Pollard playing with him a little bit, and they go for, there's Hesketh, and he's looking for, they're going to go the sweep play, are they? And McInnes goes, Hesketh steps off the left, then the right. McInnes is stuck on last, and they turn the ball over again, the Rebels, and the 4-0 lead's going to be enough here with only a few minutes left on the clock. As Watkins, they look to attack this side, and that was set Neary over this far side, and that's ball down at least. There needs to be something there, either a penalty or lost ball. John Clark just taking his eyes off the play for a tad, and it'd be over that far side. This is strong play. There's Oscar Gray. There's set Neary now on this left touchline, and there's Oscar Gray now. He throws long, and they've got space. Oh, they've got some real estate. Rivali now gets the ball back, gives it away. That's fantastic play by the Mets in these conditions. Oh, and they've called ball down, but some excellent ball control. We've seen both sides at stages struggle in the conditions, but the long pass over the top from Gray, and Rivali had space. He chose to get the dump, and there's Catalano falling over, and there's McInnes, and no ball control again. And there's another lost ball, and there's serious real estate out wide as the Mets, as the Rebels. The Rebels with only 5 on at the moment. And they realise here now it's late. Truman's late to go on and dives for the line. And Mitchell Heather there touched as they're pressing up now. And Truman makes a touch on Rivali. Rivali goes to take him, and he's got him there easily, Truman. Some good defence on that far side of the field. And Rivali will play the ball, and it's 4-0 here as Oscar Gray goes to play the ball. Heather picks it up. There's Catalano. He shimmies off the right and gives it back to Heather. Heather dives for the line. It's a good touch by Cooper Kennedy. And they'll take it out and they'll go again. And this is a mirror image of every other set here as they'll be looking to get up over halfway. And can they? I think they've completed about 2 sets in this game, the Southern Rebels, and just haven't handled the wet conditions well. And there's another potential drop ball, but they get away with that one. They'll like a bit of a reprieve. And there's Turner and Maya Soteropoulos, and gives the ball to Stanfield, and the ball's picked up, and he looks to take a short Josh Daniel, and there's a collision there from Oscar Gray and Josh Daniel, the 2 number 8s colliding at the 5, and the Mets will truck it out again, and there's Heather and Rivali and Gray now, big, tall, lanky Oscar Gray, got exceptional skills for a big man, and the dummy there from on that far side, and there's a bit of speed there from Halia, and the ball's picked up by Edwards, and Graham Whittle now with the ball. He'll get the strike done, and Edwards will pick it up, and he looks to stamp, and he goes the link pass. Halia out over the top, and the pass is forward. They're saved again by the path, the Sydney Rebels. And they'll look to get forward now, and they'll go forward with a couple of minutes left on the clock, and there's Maya Soteropoulos, and Truman now with the ball, plays on the 50-year logo, and that's last touch, and the ball taken forward by Roche. And I'll head to the box, the Sydney Mets. There's Horatio Edwards. And they'll get the ball away through Pollard, and there's Catalano with no one there. Catalano will take it as wide as he can here. And they give the ball out. Braden Nichols, as I mentioned, a prolific try scorer at the Junior State Cup. And here's Chatton now. Stops on a 5-cent piece. Long ball out by Watkins. Oh, what a ball in these conditions. Finn Watkins. The catch and pass. I dare say you won't see a better ball, a better catch and pass, potentially even a better try today in these conditions. And the Mets head to 5-0 as the seconds count down. But what a play from Finn Watkins. A men's 20s origin player, David Stone, will be licking his lips seeing play like that in these sorts of conditions. And they'll go forward through Hesketh, and he'll look to conjure up something here with not long on the clock. And Kennedy with the ball gives it away, and there's the dummy and show. Kennedy will go again at the line, and the Mets defence has been exemplary so far today. And there's a hooter in the background, and they're going to get a penalty. They get one last chance to attack for the Sydney Rebels, and they look to give it away, and it's probably how the game was meant to end, with a Rebels error. But the Sydney Mets, way too good, 5-0. We'll be back in a few moments for the next game on the stadium.